What's up, guys? Welcome to the Bomb Squad. I hope you enjoyed our end of the year podcast. We had a bunch of good movies, and this movie today we're covering, it's from last year. We're getting very modern this year. We're doing some
Yeah.
hot takes. This movie was not really critically panned, but it wasn't actually okay. So this is a weird one because it technically doesn't fit our scheme of underappreciated and underrated movies. But the sequel that we're covering next week 100% does. And I also feel like there wasn't, like, this movie was a pretty big hit actually, but the kind of reaction to it, and like there was a lot of people, especially like hardcore fans of the original, who didn't really like this one. And so it's not necessarily underappreciated because it got a lot of critics. Like, critics liked it, but a lot of general audience fans weren't huge fans of it, and you can see it in the sequel, which we'll talk about next week. But come back after this commercial break, and you'll understand that confusing ass sentence I just said. This is Andrew Hada from Nothing Ventured Media. I want to tell you about all the feature films we've made and how you can see them right now. The last one is a zombie drama about how a pandemic and isolation could drive a group of people mad. When the virus hits, John finds himself alone and scared until he meets Michael, his protector. But when Karina, another survivor, enters the mix, everything that John and Michael knew will be turned on its head. The last one is a zombie virus movie that's somehow even more relevant today. Plus, it has zombies. Check it out. Borderland is a mexploitation film about living in El Paso. When Sarah finds herself in debt to the cartels, she has until sunrise to find some missing monies with the help of her executioner. Borderland is a true midnight movie and a lot of fun. The documentary Humble Spirits tells the story of the Hahn family, including champion Jennifer Hahn from El Paso, Texas. The entire Hahn family has grown up in the combat sports and has helped shape who they are both in and out of the ring. Humble Spirits, A Family of Fighters, is the perfect documentary for boxing fans of all ages. Finally, The Empty Space, winner of multiple awards, including the Sacramento Horror Film Festival's Best of the Best, is a cosmic horror about Amy Andrews, who's dealing with anxiety and depression after a violent attack that killed her husband. As she tries to find herself, she starts to lose her grasp on reality. Or could it be something much more sinister? The Empty Space is full of twists and turns, with Grace DeWilder of Rue Morgue magazine calling it a powerful film full of excellent performances by practically every cast member. All of Andrew Hada's movies are available to rent or buy on streaming services such as Tubi, Amazon, and many other places. And how can you forget about the Bomb Squad channel that has our podcast, The Bomb Squad? We talk about underappreciated movies and also the deep dives. Video essays where we dive into some of your favorite films and examine them from different angles. And if that's not enough for you, this very channel, Hada Films, is home to all of our short films. So take a look around and see what you like. Spend your day with Hada Films and Nothing Ventured Media. All right, guys, welcome back to the Bomb Squad. I'm your host, Andrew Hada, with your other hosts, Joshua Epp and William Murdoch, and also a kitty cat. And welcome to the Bomb Squad. We talk about underappreciated and overrated movies. Today, we're talking about a movie from last year. Like I said, it wasn't underappreciated. It made its money back, but it's the first part of a trilogy. And we might not finish that trilogy, but we'll talk about next week whether we need to or not. And so today, we're covering Danny Boyle's 2025's 28 Years Later, the sequel to the very highly successful 28 Days Later. It was written by the GOAT writer of all time, Alex Garland.
Oh yeah.
It
boy.
stars
Sometimes
it stars
he is.
it stars Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson,
Get out of here.
Ralph Fiennes, and also it stars it stars Alfie Williams as Spike. Everyone in this movie, like, okay, Ralph Fiennes plays Ian Kelso, Jodie Comer plays Isla, Aaron Taylor Johnson plays Jamie. Everyone plays the most British person in the entire world of all time.
Yeah.
And of course stars Jack O'Connell, which we won't really talk about him this time, but we'll talk a lot about him next
Just
time.
the very end, yeah.
And also Ralph Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes, our favorite actor. And so yes, this movie is a sequel to the original 28 Days Later. And much like the rest of the world, it has completely ignored and skipped over 28 weeks later and
Yeah.
gone straight into what would happen in Britain. So they kind of said this at the end of 28 Days Later, but Britain has been isolated after this kind of rage virus has infected a large portion of the population. It's kind of like a zombie virus, but they're not technically zombies. So you don't have to shoot them in the head. They're not dead. They have
Right.
to survive based on still things that humans need to survive. And so
Food
now
and
we're
water.
following.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're following. Thank you, Josh, for telling the audience what humans need to survive.
The
That's the
Maslow's
kind of
hierarchy
that's
of
the
needs.
kind of
Yeah, no
that's the
survival.
kind of
For zombies.
backstory that we bring to this. Like you're like, hey, I'm watching this movie, but I don't know what humans need to survive. Wait, let me listen to this podcast. They're
Love,
fill in the
companionship.
For the movie and for the rest of your life.
yeah.
So
And
chaotic.
so
A purpose. And
now
life.
we're following a group of survivors who are trying just to live, and we follow them for a couple of days, and we'll get into what they do as we go along. That's a very
And their
broad.
needs too. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna talk
And
about
their
whether they need
needs.
food or water. But it is kind of it's less. I mean, there is a central story and everything, but a lot of it is just kind of like seeing how these people react, which is what I like about it so much.
Okay.
But also, before we start talking about 28 years later, let's talk a little bit about 28 days later. So, well, and one thing I want to say is that 28 days, I don't know if anyone remembers, and this is like the only time we're really going to talk about it because it was a huge hit critically and commercially. But 28 days later, when it first came out, one of the big things was like, hey, if you go see the theater, there's gonna be 3 different endings, and depending on what screening you go to, you're gonna see a different ending.
Right.
And
I
like
can remember that.
once you found out what the endings were, you're like, oh, I mean, those are very like similar endings. Like there's not
What were the
a big
differences?
difference. There was
I don't
one like
remember.
so 28 days later, it stars Jim Cazale. No, it's not Jim.
No.
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian
Oh my
Murphy.
God. Killian Murphy
They
is
look
how
kind
the
of-
British.
No
yeah,
movie,
they
no
do.
good movie has ever starred Jim Caviezel.
I was like, I was thinking-
Frequency was good.
Oh yeah, I love Frequency. Actually,
I was thinking of Sound of Fury, a very similar movie about lies. And so it stars Cillian. No, it's Killian. Killian is
I
how
think
they
it's Kill-
pronounce
I've always
it.
said Cillian, but
Yeah.
I think it is actually.
I think he pronounces it Killian. Killian Murphy. He plays a patient who wakes up before Walking Dead, and he wakes up from a coma, and he finds out the whole city of London has been attacked by this rage virus. We actually see the virus, which is very rare for these type of movies. You see how it gets infected,
Yeah.
and it takes a long time. Like watching it again, I just watched it. It takes quite a while for us to really get the story going. Like we really see
Yeah.
them talk to the monkey and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
It's like the iconic trailer that came out with him
Yeah.
in like he's like in a hospital gown and like all of London, like these busy places.
Just
are
shut down. Yeah, it's
Like, that
abandoned.
was major. That was everywhere for a while.
And what did you guys think of the first 28 days later? You can talk about weeks too. I'll just make it a joke because nobody
Yeah.
likes weeks.
No, I mean, 28 Days Later is great. I mean, what you're saying about it being kind of a slow burn, like once it actually picks up, it's like
Yeah.
pretty intense. But like the first time I ever saw it was like at a birthday party that I had, and I invited some friends over to watch it, and like I don't even think we made it into the story because we were like in 8th grade or something like that.
Yeah.
But no, it's so good. It's like it's so heartfelt, which I think
Right.
is kind of like what this movie we're going to talk about. That's what its strength is.
Yeah,
Like, it's scary, but it's also like extremely focused on like the humans, and yeah, it's classic horror film.
Yeah. Josh?
yeah. No, I would agree. It is good. It's very it's funny. It was like filmed on like such a low res camera, so it's like if
Yeah.
you go back to it, it's so jarring. But it is very like I don't know. It was such like a trendsetter too. Like it really did just start. You know, people really went all in on fast zombies after this and Dawn of the Dead. You know,
Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
just
And-
like kind of running, but it is like it's like oh yeah, it is like them talking a lot about like how you're not gonna like hear any more new music and stuff like that. Like things that people should talk about, but it doesn't come up as much as you would think. You know, and
Yeah.
Some really good writing, I would say.
And I think it's also interesting, like it's kind of like El Mariachi, where the camera quality was clearly like a budget thing, but it adds to the look of it. Like there's that
Yes.
scene where,
Yeah.
like at the very beginning, they've infected these monkeys with rage virus, and like one of them sprawled and watching like horrible things on the TV, um, and but like the grainy quality and the kind of like that like motion of like a regular camera, it kind of just makes it all feel like you're not supposed to be watching this. Like it all feels like a kind of
Yeah,
government
totally.
tape that got leaked. And
Yeah,
so
for sure. Like
it
like security footage or something.
Yeah.
yeah, and I think it adds, and I think it's also like, and we'll talk about it even more with 28 years, but just the cinematography, the way Danny Boyle, like, he never picks the conventional shot, but he always picks the best shot for the scene, which is very like, it sounds like it shouldn't work, but it does.
Mhm.
And then yeah, 28 Weeks was kind of made without him. Alex Garland still helped the story. It's not as good. It's kind of more of a just generic zombie film. It has a
20
very good
it
opening.
is funny because and we can almost like touch there's two things in 28 years that are kind of like, to me, touchstones of 28 weeks, but um it's clearly about like, it wants to be like, oh, this is like Iraq and here's how bad the soldiers were at Iraq and how they screwed it all up, but like the metaphor doesn't really work like with like the zombie thing they're doing, so it
Yeah.
just feels like half an idea. I don't know. It very feels like sequel completely separate from the first one. I don't know. It's also not very good. I guess I should say that.
Yeah, I saw
Good
it in
good
theaters,
opening
and I forgot
scene.
everything.
There is a good opening scene.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters too, and I remember Jeremy Renner plays one of the
Oh,
soldiers,
yeah.
and he's like the best
Right.
part, and then they kill him right away. So you're like, oh, okay, never
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. The opening
Um,
was good with the soldiers because they're kind
yeah,
of just like
with that.
horsing around or something. And then
Yeah.
stuff goes crazy. Yeah.
What's also, they kind of introduce not a cure, but like the idea that some people are immune, which Years does not get into, but it does kind of go in a direction of like, oh, they're clearly like exploring the idea of like how the virus would like shift over time. And I do think that's like one of the only interesting things you can do with like zombies. It's like, well, it can't just be this forever. It can't just be The Walking Dead where you just
Right.
the same thing over and over.
Right.
It's like you have to like change it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will
So-
say that at the very end of 28 Weeks Later, they imply that the virus has jumped over and out
Yeah,
of
it's-
England, and
It
it's
literally
in
shows the
Paris.
Eiffel Tower and they're like
Right,
running.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
And
zombies.
Which they
20
cut
years
that out.
later, completely just ignores that.
It literally says, "Oh, the continent beat it back." It's
Yeah.
like it's done. It's like don't worry, they took care of it.
Yeah, they figured it out. Yeah. So now we're at 28 years later, and so Danny Boyle and Alex Garland has reteamed to make this movie. They came out swinging. They said, "We're going to have a trilogy of films. 28 years later is going to be directed by Danny Boyle. Then that's going to be released in the summer. In January, we're going to release a sequel that we've already filmed called 28
Right.
Years Later: The Bone Temple." Directed by Nia Costa. That's the difference. But Alex Garland's going to write both films, all three films, and then Danny Boyle would come back for 28 years later, the whole bloody affair, whatever the last one's going to be called. And so it was kind of an intriguing premise of like, I mean, they did it with The Strangers, but everyone, when they did it with The Strangers, was like, why would you make a trilogy of Strangers films? Like, there's only been one kind of successful one. But everyone was pretty excited for this. And we'll talk about what the reaction, or we can talk about it after. But like, so this kind of like, there was a lot of hype, especially like, I feel like there was a lot of it's kind of that thing in between where there's a lot of anticipation, like, oh my god, they're coming back together to remake this movie. They're gonna come fix the wrongs, which necessarily 28 Weeks is not that wrong. It's also one movie, so who
Right,
cares?
it's not like
but
awful.
Yeah.
It's good.
but
Just kind of whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's like so it was, I think that intrigued a lot of people. And then at the end, where we'll get into the reception, but I kind of want to just jump into the movie. So now we've cut to 28 years later. They've kind of isolated England. It's constantly being patrolled and quarantined by different entities, like just different UV votes are like chasing it around, making sure no one leaves the island.
Right.
The infected have kind of taken over the mainland. The first kind of place we go to is this kind of offset. It's like a little bit off of the island. Like you can get to it when there's low tide, but when there's high tide, you can't.
Yeah.
And there's this community that's been there, and it's one of the main people we're following is Aaron Taylor Johnson. He plays Jamie, the dad. Jody, is it how do you say her last name? Comer? Comer.
Yeah, I
Comer.
guess so. I
Comer.
have no idea.
No.
Comer.
Jodie Comer, she plays the mom, and she has some kind of disease,
Some
and
kind of
so
illness.
she's
they're
Yeah.
kind of they're trying to take care of her, and then Spike is the son. So we're kind of following this family, and it's like two things are happening at the same time where the mom is like she doesn't really know where she is. She always has a really high fever. She
Kind
gets
of
confused.
delirious.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
delirious. Sometimes she knows what's going on, sometimes she doesn't. And also Jamie, the dad, is trying to figure out, or he's trying to take his son out of the island for the first time because they do kind of these hunts, go look for supplies, go look for survivors, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so these things are happening concurrently. And Spike is kind of the kid who's like
Kinda
he's
stuck
not
in it.
old enough, but like
that is interesting because
yeah.
the first because it's like the dad's like making him food and he's like have some of my bacon and he's like you have it. It's like no you have it. It's kind of like oh this is a super rare kind of thing.
Right.
It's a special.
But
yeah.
they go upstairs to the mom and it's like oh I'm taking him out on his hunt. We've talked about this and she's like he's a baby and at first you just think oh she's being crazy because she is obviously crazy. But then when they're kind of getting ready later in the town. The rest of the village is like he's pretty young. It's like he really shouldn't be.
Right.
And
He's
we
like
don't really
he's
know why he's going out at an
he's
early
like
age.
12. Yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
dad's just kind of pushing
I
for
think-
it. Maybe
Yeah.
I think he's 13 or he's 12 or
Yeah,
13, but they don't go out
12.
till
They
15.
say 12, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he's
usually,
he's
yeah.
not necessarily like he's right on the edge of being old enough. So it's also that kind of thing where it's like, why don't you just wait a year or two and then take him? You know?
and
Um,
say too the vibes. And I kind of forgot that this was like I didn't realize that this whole score was just done by one like group. It's like a Scottish hip hop group called Young Fathers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the score is like crazy. Like when it just shows like Spike like doing his chores, getting ready, and it's just doing this like crazy piano line. I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
movie has like a really good like just like I don't know.
It's so Danny Boyle, like it's so like
Yeah.
It feels like so late mid '90s Brit,
Yeah.
kind of like
Y-
cool
yeah.
hip-hop, rock kind of stuff. Like it's just
Like that's like the cultural peak because it's 20 years later. They never progressed, past
Yeah.
that. It's cool.
Well,
honestly,
that's
a good
that
point.
definitely
That's
is
literally
gonna
the
come
point of
back.
the film. I know.
And it's also like this movie was filmed on only iPhones, and so like I said, they're able to play with it a lot more, and it's really like it really wants to get into like not POV, but kind of put you in that mode, like. And then it also has the Danny Boyle sensibilities, where like so the town is talking to him, and they're saying like, make sure you're too young, and then or you're too young, but your dad says it's okay, so we're gonna let you go.
Right.
And they said also remember the rule of this like village is you can leave and you can come back, but if you don't come back no one will ever be sent to get you. And it's like
Right.
you kind of like that's when you first get I mean because it's what's the movie's about, but that's the first inkling where it's like this village is kind of trying to portray like everything's normal, they're eating bacon, they live by themselves, is still under this kind of terror that lurks outside.
Right.
And so, and I think it's a good way to kind of introduce it to the audience as well. Like, yeah, if you die, you die. Like,
Yeah.
or if you
Yeah.
even get stuck behind. And then we see, but while she's kind of saying this, and they open the gates and they walk out, and it's cutting to shots of like older films or like siege of like castles.
Oh yeah.
They
It's
do even- This is even where they use a couple of shots from 28 years later where they're shooting like zombies. That's like the only time they acknowledge it, really.
yeah. It's the Rudyard Kipling poem Boots set over, and it's about the British soldiers going to war and how it drives you mad essentially, and it's like
Right.
it is haunting. They used it in the trailer.
It's
and
so
yeah, like,
intense.
All the like night shots of the infected like eating deer and stuff, and
Yeah,
it's
they're all,
like
Yeah.
dead.
like the
Yeah,
it's like
I love
so
it.
like good. This movie
And
has
that's-
like
yeah.
immaculate vibes.
And see, that's what I'm saying. Like, there isn't really even a reason for it to be an infrared with their eyes lit up.
yeah,
Because, like, what's the implication that someone's seen it like that? But it doesn't really matter because
Right.
Danny Boyle's like, I'm using this
We're doing it.
to, like, this isn't about the realism of this scene. It's about the emotions of it. And so we want you, like,
Totally.
to see how otherworldly these rage monsters are, even though they have human body.
Right. It's like how it feels to see them as opposed to like what it actually
Exactly.
looks like. Yeah.
this is
Exactly.
this is also like as they're kind of heading out, because I feel like back in the day when we made the last ones, now available on Tubi, I think we watched something like 50 zombie movies in like 2 years.
Yeah.
And you really do just see the same movie over and over, and it's just
Right.
it's one of those things that really gets to you. So that's why like I'd not seen like any zombie stuff for like 10 years. Never watched The Walking Dead. And after like the first season, I was like, I don't care about any of this.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this and I'm like, this is like kind of amazing. I was like, oh yeah, these zombie movies can be good if like the director is good. It's like
Right.
if there's like a style to it, if there's like a sense of like, oh, this is about something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just it really turned me completely around on zombie
Yeah.
media that I was against for a long time.
Right.
You know?
Good directors make good movies is the point. From the water and food are needed for human beings to survive.
Yeah, but
no,
I
I know
know.
what you mean. I mean, it's that thing too, where zombie movies, going back to last ones, is a very cheap movie to make because all you need is
Right.
like a neighborhood. You just need a house. You're able to, like just have some makeup guys, a house, and you can do it. Ask us, we did that. But there's a very big difference between a director who's actually trying to say something, who's trying to do something, than a director who just needs to make a quick buck off a zombie
Right.
film. I mean,
Right,
even
because
Zack
they're
Snyder,
cheap to make.
yeah. And so yeah, putting Danny Boyle, and I think that's what most people were excited about. Like, hell yeah, a real, not a quote, what real filmmaker, but someone who Danny Boyle was not
Someone's got
making
a
this
vision.
movie because he
But,
needed to.
but that's like I'm saying, like as they're coming out and it's playing this poem and just showing old war footage and like even footage from 28 Days, you're like, oh, this isn't gonna just be like a straightforward, like this is gonna be kind of an ethereal, like it's
Yeah,
really
this is
gonna
gonna
like
be
draw
good.
you
Right.
in. And I almost feel
Right.
like a lot of zombie movies are just very basic in kind of the other direction.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I get
so,
what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah.
And I also want to say that Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's perfectly cast here. He's kind of like the dad of the whole town. He's kind of like everyone's hero, including Spike.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
he's cool.
the
He's a real
way,
cool guy.
yeah, the way everyone treats him is kind of the way people treat the Fonz from Happy Days. No one knows
Yeah.
what the Fonz is anymore. But like the guy who walks in and everyone loves him and they're like, "Hey,
Oh
what's
my
up, man?" Yeah,
God,
like fuck
dude.
yeah.
You wanna have a
And
drink with
so-
us?
And like Aaron Taylor Johnson knows how to play that part very well. And so like that's almost like you almost get the sense that if it was another dad asking to take his son out who was too young, they would have just put their foot down and been like, no. But because of his terrible backstory of having to take care of his wife and also being the cool dad of the whole village, you kind of like he gets more leeway, I think. And so that's a cool. And so they go out there, and of course he's Spike's hero as well, and that comes back
Right.
a
And
little
they
bit
even
later.
had like a whole like exit party. Like
Yeah.
this whole community, like obviously
They're
it's very
dancing,
close-knit,
yeah.
but, like yeah, like they have like everyone's out there. Like it's like what you see like in the 50s when people are going off to war, like the 40s
Yeah.
when people are going off to, like World
Yeah.
War II. Like they're just like, go get them, boys. And it's just
Yeah.
Right.
it's very
Go on,
some people
lads.
like this hunt kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
the mom was sad for him to go out and do it because he's a kid, but like the whole town is like into these guys going on to the mainland.
Oh, and we forgot to say this, but it'll come up at the end, and it'll come up next time for sure. So at the very, very beginning, we don't actually start with the village. We start on the day of the
Yes.
virus hitting like this kind of area, and it's a bunch of kids watching Teletubbies. If you kids don't know what Teletubbies is, it's like a kid. It's kind of like Sesame Street, but they're weird aliens, and they had TVs on their bellies.
Yeah, it was huge.
And they would talk like babies.
Yeah, it's one
And
boy
so-
and his 7 sisters
Yeah, it's one boy and his
watching
7 sisters.
watching
And
Teletubbies. Yeah.
The zombies break in and they kill all the sisters, and the boy runs and he gets to a church, and it's implied that the priest is his dad.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And but the priest is like praying. He's like, no, this is actually good. This is what we want. And he gives him his cross and he's like, go son, go live free or something like that. And then he gets eaten by monsters and the kid runs away. And then we cut to the island. We're not 100% sure who that kid is.
Yeah, we don't know what we just saw.
That is one of the cool things that every movie, because even 28 Weeks starts the day, like kind of on the day or what. It's always like, it always starts right in the middle of it, and then something else happens. And I was like,
And not only that,
that's
but
kinda
it
cool.
always starts kind of like an Indiana Jones, where it's unrelated to the actual main story until kind of like one thing happens. And so now we're back in the forest, and they're kind of going through. And it's kind of cool because, like, one of the good things about this movie is kind of something we try to do with the last ones. We're not going to mention Bone Temple, but we are going to mention the last ones 100 times. But is that we get to see, like, I think one of my favorite things in movies, and maybe that's why I loved Avatar, is because I like to live in a world that's not our own, and Like
Oh,
it
yeah, for
feels
sure.
like we're living in this world. Like they go into the forest and now there's zombies who have just like they were obese people and like you can tell that their bodies have failed them, so they just kind of crawl on the ground instead of
Yeah.
like being able to walk, and they're just like big blobs of like
kind of
monster, and they're
like
like coming to bite you.
that is almost like because to me because especially for people who are like oh the science of stuff like whatever because the whole point of 28 days later is that at the end it's like well yeah the human body can only like live without water or whatever for like 20 it's something like that it's like and then eventually
Right,
it's just going to shut down things people need to survive as we said
right,
um,
right.
and then so
I'm
the
glad
whole
we know
idea
what that
is
is.
the
Yeah.
whole
Someone told
the
us.
whole
Fair.
idea of like well how would there would still be zombies 28 years later would they literally just starve to death like immediately it's like oh they kind of in a weird way evolved to like different types of like yeah like these gross guys who just eat worms off the ground and
Right.
stuff
Yeah.
and that's like
Yeah,
so it's almost becomes these different like zombie subcultures which is I think is
yeah.
cool
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know
I think that's interesting, and it's also like nothing ever feels like those guys aren't really a threat because you can almost move out of the way and they won't bite you, you know.
Right.
And
yeah
but the threat is if any of them makes a noise, and like they have this way of screaming that attracts the other
Yeah.
zombies, and so you kind of want to kill them. But like the dad is kind of using these things to train Spike. He's like, no, take your time. They have bows, you know, because guns don't work anymore, really.
Right.
They're like, take the bow and like shoot them, and like it's kind of like this father son learning thing, but they're about to kill like a big
This
blob of
horrible
monster.
monster.
Yeah.
And the dad is so cool during all this. Like
Yeah.
they're on the mainland, they're in this zombie area, and so Spike is obviously like freaking out. Like he's doing a good job, but you know he's nervous. But
Right.
the dad just feels like he's going like deer hunting or like he's like at the
Yeah.
store. Like
I-
he is not worried at all about
Eh.
anything.
And I'm glad you said that. I'll bring it up later when I talk about what I think this movie is about. But I think these kind of notes are important to kind of go as we go along. And I think it's also cool. Like Spike kind of has that. It is that thing where a lot of this movie you kind of learn like Spike is 100% too young to be out here. He's freaking the fuck out. Like let him
yeah
go home. But it's that thing where it's like you're already out there. Like it's time that you kind of have to do this, you know.
Right.
And so then they keep walking, they're kind of looking around, and then they find there's other ones that start chasing them, and this is where we see another subculture of the zombies, because now every once in a while someone gets bit, and like the rage virus, which is just kind of testosterone, like put the 10th degree or something like that,
Yeah.
is actually ends up working because testosterone is also a major ingredient in steroids. Sometimes it's just testosterone as a steroid. So it acts as this ingredient of steroids. And so some of the infected turn into these huge, tall, Hulk-like monsters
the
called
alphas.
alphas.
Yeah.
And they actually, not only are they the worst, because they show one of them in infrared, and he like tears off a deer's head and is just tearing the skull,
Yeah. They all
like
have that
eating the
signature.
brain.
That's
Yeah. And
just
then
how
like the other
they-
ones
yeah.
kind of come up and eat the rest of the deer.
I almost wonder if the idea is like they're eating the brain, so that's actually helping them. You know,
Well,
like
see-
that's how they.
Yeah.
And you could kind of look at it
Have a
that way,
higher
or also
intelligence.
they're so big that they're a little bit smarter, because these ones like they chase them, and then Jamie and
You know, it's actually what's
end up-
crazy
Oh, go ahead.
though is that because you don't see the alpha at first, you just see a bunch of them standing on a hill, and it's kind of weird that they're not just attacking.
Right.
And then you don't even see the alpha's head because he's so big. When he walks in the frame, you just see the body. And I was like, Danny Boyle. Like, it's like it makes him look even bigger. And I was like, you son of a bitch. This is so
And it's-
good.
It's also like a subversion, because up until this point, every person infected with this virus, they don't even like, they'll bump into things, they'll run over shit, they'll like crash through windows. They don't seem to have any like self-control or like ability to save themselves. And so like seeing not only the alpha, like, or seeing them all like kind of follow the lead of the alpha and almost move a little bit strategically is like, oh no, like these guys
Yeah.
are so much worse now. Because then they run away, they hide in this house that they had visited earlier, and the alpha is just standing under the tree, and they're like looking at him, and they're like, why doesn't he go? And the guy's like, I don't know. But we
Yeah,
have
he's
to
just
stay here."
waiting under. It just under the tree too, as like crows swarm around him. It's so sick.
Yeah, and they bring
crows are
crows.
great, yeah.
They bring crows with them.
And I kind of assume that's supposed to just be like, oh, because they just leave so many bodies that it's like food for the crows, like wherever
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah, totally.
They do. It's funny because I completely forgot this until I rewatched it. But in the house they find a body from someone who's been
some guy
hung upside
hanging.
down.
Yeah.
And this is almost literally just a teaser for because they're just like, oh, who would do this? It's like some
Behind
people
him.
went crazy out here.
Oh, well, I don't know if you guys noticed, but right behind him, it says his name is Jimmy, which is another
I
teaser.
did not.
I did not catch that at all. No.
Yeah, if you look at it, it says his name is Jimmy.
That's funny.
It says something Jimmy, or it says Jimmy's were here.
The Jimmys,
But-
it's something
yeah.
like that, yeah.
And so, oh, go ahead.
One other thing too, like whenever they first show the alpha, and they do this like a bunch of times, which this is kind of one of the things that I want to kind of pebble into for like the whole theme of the film. But in this area where they're at, like this like main land, like there are just like so many fields of like flowers, and
Right.
the sky is just this beautiful blue, and the forest is just like the most green and lush you've ever like 28 days later is like gross, broken down city, whatever.
Yeah.
Human civilization has fallen. But like on this island where they're at, like the world has continued to flourish, and
Yeah.
all of this like craziness is happening in the midst of all this like natural beauty, because like the world has just kind of continued.
Yeah, it's like full like things of deer, like herds of
Yeah.
deer, like
Yeah.
running and stuff.
And
like
I think that might be also a big kind of the shock from going from days to days to years, is that even like at the very end of 28 Days, they go to this kind of countryside, but even the countryside, it's shot very tight, very
Yeah,
gritty,
very
very
dark.
kind of gross, very dark.
Mhm.
Where in this one, like a lot of these shots are like beautiful. Like there's a famous production still with the real skinny zombie, and he's like in a field of beautiful yellow
Yeah.
flowers, and it's
Yeah.
like, God damn, this is such a cool world that you've created.
Right. It's like such a good
Um,
juxtaposition. Yeah.
And so while they're hiding out from the zombies in that little kind of house, they notice two things. They notice the boats that are kind of circling the island. And they also notice fires coming from further in the island. And they're not sure. Or well, Spike is like, "What is that? I don't know. I'm British." And then I am Spike. And so then eventually the attic collapses and they have to run, and they're like getting chased by the alpha. There's no they get to the thing and they're trying to get there, and they get to the bridge and the water's already rising in a very cool scene because it's cut real fast and like it feels like everything's going wrong and right at the same time. Oh, go ahead.
And once again, going back to what Josh was saying earlier, like the music in this scene, like the
Yeah.
music is not like, bum, 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 bum. It's not like crazy scary. It's honest. It's like almost religious sounding. Like,
Yeah.
It's, like,
Yes.
So ethereal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Beautiful, and like the night sky has like what is the aurora borealis?
Yeah, yeah.
right
Like,
as
the
they're like
visuals,
running in
yeah.
the water.
it's
Yeah.
such a weird,
And, like-
you're like almost crying, but you're also scared. Like
The
it's
water
wild.
and the sky look very similar because like they
Yeah.
both have that darkness. And
Totally.
and again, like credit to Danny Boyle, because like we said, the crows kind of signify the alpha's coming, and so they're running, and then you just see a bunch of crows like go over their head, and you realize
Yeah.
that they're not.
'cause they don't know they're
The
being
chase
chased,
has not
right.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're like, because they're like, oh, we did it, and then you see the crows, and they're like, run, Spike, run, and so they're trying to
Yeah.
get back to the house, and they're trying to let everyone know, and then of course they're having another party. You guys just love parties, which I guess if you don't have TV or internet, you're having a party
Yeah.
every night. Like
It's probably just the night.
they probably figured out how to distill alcohol. Like it's party
that's,
city.
Yeah.
That's your life right there. Yeah. That's-
If it was
that's
if
good
it was
as
me
it's
on that
gonna
island,
get.
there'd just be like huge forests of marijuana. I'd be like, listen, guys,
And there's
what
a
are we
thing,
doing here?
too, that we're probably gonna get this later, but like just to go back to like the relationship between Spike and his dad.
Yeah.
Like Spike did a really good job like shooting zombies. Like he was really
Right.
good. Like he missed sometimes because he got
Yeah.
scared, but like he's a good shot. And they get into the house and they're hiding, and Spike is like, "Dad, I'm so sorry I got us into this mess. Like I really messed everything up." But the dad is like, "Spike, you did so good. Like you are my favorite kid. Like I love
Yeah.
you so much." Like he's just such an encouraging dad. Like he
Yeah.
is really bonding
Yeah.
with him and having this like beautiful moment, and that's important to what's about to happen right now.
Yeah, yeah. So then they're getting back, and then eventually they do kill that alpha. They shoot him with like a huge ass.
It's like
arrow thing. It's
harpoons on
a
fire,
stake, yeah.
basically.
He's
Yeah.
like, ooh. And so they finally get in. They open the thing, and that's the thing. Like the cool thing about 28 days, years, all of them, is that the virus infects you very quickly. So like, if you wait, if you make them wait for like a day, like 10, 20 seconds, you know they're not infected because if they were, they would have already turned.
Right.
And so eventually they let them in, and they're like, okay, time to have a party. So they go have a party, and once they get in, the dad kind of starts over
He
embellishing
embellishes
exactly what
their
happened. Yeah. He's like, "Oh, Spike, he was there, and we killed the alpha, and all this kind of stuff." And
yeah. He's like he hit every zombie.
Yeah.
It's like he's like, Dad, I missed most of them. He's like, Nah, you didn't. It's like,
yeah, nah, you did it.
Yeah.
And his son is kind of like, "What the hell?" And so his son is a little. The dad is kind of like, "That was a good," and like the dad would know more. He's like, "That was a good one." Like maybe they're all like that. Who knows? But Spike is kind of still traumatized from the thing, so he doesn't really want to be at a party, and he's kind of like wandering around. He starts looking for his dad, and that's when he sees his dad making out with one of the other members of the community,
Right.
who's not his mom.
well,
And that kind of
making out in a certain way, but yes,
Yeah.
he's definitely
making out in the way that adults make out.
When you're sequestered to an island for years.
This is very funny too because you do get the sense. Obviously, this would be a huge betrayal of Spike because not only did his dad just lie about most of what happens, like to the whole like village, but that it's also he's like cheating on the mom. I don't get the sense that the mom would care about any of this, you know. But it's also like to Spike, it's like the ultimate like
right. He does not
the shattering of his childhood, you know.
Yeah.
Even when they're in the party too, like they're making him like drink beer, like they're like handing him glasses, and he doesn't really want to drink it, and like everyone's having a party, but like the way they're shooting it, like the party feels like scary. Like it feels like he's like this kid who's not ready for this. Like he's just like gone through this, like he's traumatized from this hunt. He probably wasn't ready to like enter this new world, and it's really scary to him. What his view on his dad is changing by the second. He even tells his dad like not to cuss. He's like, "Stop cussing so much, Dad."
Yeah.
And the dad's like, "It doesn't matter, Spike. Whatever." And then Spike is just not sure what this world is now that he's entered into it. You know.
Yeah. Also, guys, for all our UK listeners, we will all each do a UK British accent whenever we can. So just sit tight. Ours, Williams is better than mine, but mine is more prevalent. I use it a lot more. And so it's just fun to say it, like, because you want to say it like them. It's very fun.
I know.
We've assimilated right away.
Voices,
So good.
And so he goes to his house, and he goes and talks to kind of, it's not, I thought it was the grandpa, but it's not the grandpa. It's kind of like an older neighbor.
Just the village elder. Yeah, because he's like, oh, we saw these fires. And he's like, oh, that'd be Dr. Ian Kelson then.
No, he goes, I wonder if that was Dr. Ian Kelson.
And he's like, he was my GP some 30 years back. And obviously Spike doesn't know what a GP is. He's like, oh, he's a doctor.
Josh is not going to do the British accent, so I'm going to do it for him. Yeah, see, there you go. He's a doctor. Well, and
he's
so,
a doctor.
Then,
we're all a different beetle.
It's all I know. It's also like, what if that's like a very Star Wars like reference where it's like, oh, we saw a fire. He's like, oh, I wonder if this one old man. It's like, I don't know, man. It's the entire country of Britain. It could be a lot of people.
To be fair, but you don't know how old that village is, and clearly Dr. Ian Kelson has been at it for decades, like at least
28 years.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he started right away, but he probably started pretty soon after. You know?
Yeah. And so then he goes with the mom, and eventually the dad comes home, and she goes and lies with the mom. And a very sad scene because the mom like doesn't really know what's going on. He wants to kind of tell her about the exciting news, but she doesn't, like, just does not get anything that's happening because she's so sick. And so then the next day they wake up and Spike's like, hey, we should take mom to this doctor. Because it's also like, it's affirmation. It's like confirmation, which you've already kind of known, but it's that confirmation that it's not just that they don't have guns. It's not just they don't have cars. They don't have basic medicine. So we're back at the point where like a fever could kill you, like the flu could kill you, you know? Mm-hmm. And so we don't really know what's wrong with the mom because it could just be a really bad fever. Yeah.
Right.
And so then Spike tells the dad, like, hey, we should take him to the doctor. I heard it's Dr. Kelso. If there's a doctor, we should go try to save mom. And that's when he tells them, like, oh, no. Like, one time we were on patrol and we saw the smoke and we kind of wanted to investigate it. and we found this guy who was like burning, like he had a field full of dead bodies, and he was just kind of burning them, and we were hiding in the brush, and he saw us out of nowhere, and he was like, "Come on down." Come on. He's like covered in
chill.
he looks like what he's covered in blood, and he's like, so we turned and we ran until we got back to the island.
That is a fair reaction.
It is also like
yeah.
We're seeing what he's seen, and it does look like the most horrifying thing you've ever seen. Like, despite the fact that you're constantly attacked by zombies, there's just like he's organized them in a nice little row, and so you're like, oh, okay.
And he's cut. Yeah, it's like you assume he's one of the sadistic torturers you've like heard about or at least somewhat aware of. You know,
maybe someone who hung a body upside down.
Yeah, you think he might be one of those guys.
Yeah. And so he doesn't really, Spike kind of doesn't take this information at all, because he's kind of, now he's got his head set on helping his mom. And so
well, he's also like, what are you just waiting for her to die so you can marry whatever the other village girl's name is? He's like, don't talk about her.
With the curls.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but the first time they leave, the hottie with the curls, she's like the last person to see him by, and she's like smiling at him, and he's like, you trollop. No, I understand. I understand the situation.
Don't let the whole village see, Rosie.
I know, like, come on, guys, be discreet about
it. Be cool.
And so he's mad, and so then Spike, and I think this is where this movie kind of loses a lot of people, because it goes from being not necessarily a sequel to 28 Days Later, but it kind of feels a little bit more in the vein of the first one, where now this is kind of going off on its own, I think for the better, but a lot of the negative reactions to this movie start here.
Interesting.
And so then Spike, like, he goes to the guards, he's like, there's a fire over there. And so they go try to stop this fire, and you find out that Spike said it, and he takes his mom, and they're going to go try to find Dr. Kelso. So they leave the island and they go off. Go ahead.
There's one thing I wanted to mention too. So right before this happens, so like Spike is like mad at his dad, and he's like making his plan to take his mom, and he tells his dad to just like leave the house. He's just like, dude, get out of here. And he like pulls his knife out to like almost like stab the dad, and then the dad like just instinctively takes the knife away from Spike, and it's this moment of like, what's he gonna do? And then the dad just like closes the knife and hands it back to Spike, and then punches a wall, and then just like actually leaves. And that's the moment where it's like the dad's now gone. Now Spike is with the mom. It's like a mom and dad. Weird. And
right.
That's like the pivotal moment where it's like Spike is now taking control of the household, and now we go to the gate. I just feel like that's such an important part. Like,
and it's good. It's
relevant to
and it's good for So they go, and then there's like a really cool part. I'm trying to speed up because we're taking a little while, but it's good. I mean,
about every single scene. I know.
I know. They're so good though.
Like,
every scene,
everything kind of ties into the theme, and so they're going, and like there's this beautiful part where they're walking through this empty, like kind of we see more of the city that's been overrun by vegetation. There's a really cool part where they're like looking out, and the mom is kind of confusing Spike for her dad, and she keeps being like, "Daddy, where are we going?" And then like there's a part where she talks about how she always wanted to see the sun, and like how seen it differently and all this kind of stuff. And Spike is like, I'm not your dad, I'm your son. And so they go through, and this is where we see the cool flowers with the zombie, and they shoot him in the head, which a lot of people thought was Cillian Murphy, and I feel like they intentionally picked someone who kind of looked like a very skinny Cillian Murphy.
Kind of, in the same way.
The first time I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, he's a zombie!" That's what they brought him back
from
for.
the first one.
They also reference 28 Days Later right there too, because like the mom, like after Spike shoots the zombie, she gets like blood on her face. And it's like about to drip into her eye. And he, like, really fast, which that's a major part in 28 Days Later if you've seen it.
Right.
Yes,
in this movie, you can't get even a drop of blood anywhere inside of you.
That's kind of like, God, if you have cuts on your hands, man, what a mess.
I know. I would never leave that village. I'd be like, I'll go later.
This is actually, we could rush through this because it's so funny and nothing. This is where it hard cuts to the soldiers now walking.
Yes, then we get some Swedish soldiers.
Ooh, some Swedish soldiers. And I almost feel this is a 28 Weeks Later reference, because they are all tactical and they brutally get owned immediately with no effort. They all die.
This is also where we're introduced to the best character of the entire franchise,
Oh, Eric.
Samson.
Oh.
Yeah.
Samson is a very big alpha, with very beautiful curly hair. Everyone in this movie has beautiful curly hair. It seems.
Samson is cool.
And he's like the biggest monster. Also, all these zombies are naked. So, just a forewarning. I mean, we're already 40 minutes in, but yeah,
Samson's
you're gonna see
pretty
a
Oh,
lot of.
they're so
You're gonna see a lot
nude
of. You're gonna see a lot of nudity in this film.
but I do love the
Samson's proud
contrast.
Just a bit
It's-
of newts.
Like
A little nudity.
like as you're seeing the hunters kind of carefully like take aim with bow, and then you just cut to the soldiers going ah,
Yeah, like, not
like
Just not ready
And,
for
like,
this at all.
Not only that, but they're leaving each other behind. Like,
they're just
there is no
running, they're
solidarity.
screaming, they're shooting
They
into the
jump-
air.
They
Yeah.
jump into like a ditch where it's like, guys, you could not pick a worse place to have a
Right.
last stand.
It's so
There's
funny.
no
It's a low
escape from.
ground.
They don't even know how to get out because there's like a gate that has locked them in. And also, Samson, he loves to. All the alphas, they kill by ripping off your head, usually from your jaw, and they just kind of rip it off
They pull your spine out.
in a very gross way. They're all predators, yeah.
Yeah.
And so while that's happening, then we cut to Spike and the mom. They kind of get trapped by some of them. They're in this
Like a gas
in
station.
a gas station,
A petrol station.
a petrol. I get some petrol here. And then the guy, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do this next week. And then the guy like shoots it and it explodes, which is a very cool scene. He's like, oh, there was methane that was building up in
Yeah.
there, and so we killed all the zombies. Because again, they don't like zombies don't know to duck, or at least these rage monsters
Right.
don't know to
Right.
duck. So they're like, it'll get killed. And so then there's like a lot of the movie where they're just kind of they're still going to Dr. Kelso. You find out that this Swedish army guys, they kind of crashed on board, and they knew that
Yeah.
they're fucked because
They have like
nothing,
quarantine boats. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
and you don't
patrol.
once if you get on the island, that's it. You're also quarantined. Like they don't let you
Right,
back out.
right. Yeah.
And so
I will say I do love his cavalier attitude towards
Yeah.
it, where he's just like, because he has a phone with like 1%
cheers.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's just like, I guess this is my life now. No more phones, no more anything. Because he's like, oh, here's photos. Do you know what a photo is? And Spike's
Yeah.
like, some of the older people have some, I guess. Like,
And he goes, oh, this is my girlfriend. Well, I guess she's not my girlfriend anymore because I'm stuck here. It's
Yeah.
like, man, you really are taking this with you're taking this very well.
The Swedish guy is the best. He is so funny.
he's
man.
so
Hilarious.
aware he's gonna die probably soon, because he's just like, oh, I wonder if I die if I become like a Viking berserker, because I'm Swedish. He's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, he's like such a bro.
He's also not quiet even a little bit. He's so loud every time he
Yeah.
talks. Like, hey, buddy, there's zombies everywhere in the country and they're hiding.
Right.
And
like,
so
also, like, this time period too, like whenever they're like trying to like run around, like we're getting like glimpses of like how Spike and his mom might have like used to interact with each other before she got sick. Like,
right.
she's kind of like jokey with them and like more silly, and like just you kind of get to see like a little bit more of her personality kind of coming through during this journey. Like,
Yeah.
it kind of makes her sickness even more sad because it's like she's still a person inside of there. She's just confused,
And there's-
they kind of develop that relationship a little bit.
Yeah, there's definitely points where you see and you can tell that she's got that moment of clarity where she's back to normal and like
Mhm.
the way she like,
yeah.
what are we doing outside? Like we're supposed to be in the camp or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
And also like, yeah, so they eventually they hear crying or they hear like kind of like not yelling, but kind of like hard, like, oh,
a different
And-
type of sound. Yeah,
Yeah,
Just
so
the
they-
screams.
they go into, yeah, and like the rage monsters are always like, rah, rah, rah.
Mhm.
This is a very noise heavy.
Rah, rah, rah. They do kind of sound like
There's a
that.
lot of
You're not
voices
wrong.
in this episode,
Yeah.
guys. You're welcome. And so they go into the train. They like find this abandoned train, and they find a pregnant rage monster. And so the mom decides, like, and again, I don't know if this is it. It's not necessarily implied, but just how much the mom knows about how to deliver a baby. You kind of get the sense that maybe she was a midwife or maybe she was a nurse,
Yeah,
or
totally.
you don't know when she got the virus. So maybe
Yeah,
she
on
got
the
it 10
island,
years
she
ago
probably
and she's been
helped.
helping. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's almost like her instincts kick in and she wants to help this monster give birth to a baby.
Right.
And so it's a really cool scene. They have the baby, and then the Viking guy's like, okay, he kills the mom because she like tries to get up. He kills the mom, and then he's going to kill the baby, and Spike is like in the way because his mom is holding the baby, and the guy's like, get out of the way, I'll kill all three of you. Because there's even a point earlier in the film, once the the Swedish guy realizes that the mom is sick and she's not always in control of her actions, he's kind of like, it's actually going to be worse if I stick with you guys because like you're going to get me
Right. You
killed.
guys are a liability.
Yeah.
And so it comes back in this thing because he's like, I will kill you. Like, I don't have that much loyalty to you guys.
Yeah, we've had some jokes.
But
Enough.
then,
That's
just like a caped cruise, he's not the hero we need, but he's the hero we deserve.
Yeah.
Samson grabs the guy's head and does what he does every single time and rips his head off. He's just shooting.
Yeah.
This is a crazy
And-
as they're like running, and it's like the POV of Samson, like the camera as he's
yeah,
like
and it's like
chasing
right
them.
here.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
also too, like whenever the mom is delivering the baby from the zombie, like this is a pretty important moment that will kind of come back at a certain point. But like the zombie like knows what Spike's mom is doing. Like she knows that she's
Right.
having. Like,
Yeah,
she knows that the
there's an
mom is not a threat or-
instinctual
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
And-
allows the baby to be delivered.
and the baby is totally clean.
Yeah,
it's
baby's
like
fine, which is well, it doesn't have the eyes, and they don't think it's rape.
the magic of placenta.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what's sad. So they eventually they're running from Samson. He's like chasing him. He's about to catch him, and that's when Dr. Kelso appears and he has a blow dart. He shoots them with something, and it stops Samson in his tracks. And so then they're like, "What the hell?" And he's also covered in red blood, or it looks like
Yeah.
blood. And so they look at him, and he's like, "Hello."
I'm Dr. Kelso.
And he tells them that it's not blood. He covers himself. I think it's iodine.
It's iodine because
he says the virus
it
can't
helps the
survive iodine.
yeah.
So even if he gets bit, it's less likely that he's going to get infected. At least
Or
as
if he
far
gets
as he
blood
knows,
on
he hasn't
him.
been bitten, or blood on him.
Yeah.
And then he also says that the dart has like kind of morphine and something else in it, so it immediately incapacitates the monsters.
Yeah.
And so then he's like,
he's
"Oh,"
not killing him. He's not killing Samson.
and he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he's like, "Come with me to my cool house.
I've got a sort of a.
I got some cool shit to show
He does
you."
have it. It is cool how he's because it's a kind of not fully deep, but like hard to get through stream that you have to kind of crawl on chains. You have to kind of
Right.
pull yourself.
Right. It's
so-
a
so-
version.
A normal infected couldn't get through it, and alpha can, as we see, because they're smarter.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Right, and they're also like 10 feet tall.
right. You can just walk through the water.
So the
probably,
little water,
yeah.
it's not gonna stumble.
Yeah.
But and then that's where he says he's the one who kind of says like, "Oh, I had a theory that the placenta might protect the babies,
Mhm.
but now this is the only time I've ever been able to see it in practice."
I
And
just-
it's also Samson's baby, just to be clear.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
And
And
Dr. Kelso is maybe one of the best characters in like
He legit
recent
is.
history.
It is great
He's
'cause
so cool.
He's so exuberant. They get to his home and you just see a bunch of literal bone temples, like towers. And Spike goes, "What is that?" And then he goes, "Like I've been waiting 2 decades for someone to ask me that."
Yeah.
It's just like
Because
yay.
he even says like, "Oh, I thought I was going to die either through age or virus or violence." And it's such a every time he talks, I mean, it's also played by Ralph Fiennes, but every time he talks, there's such a poetry to the way
Yeah,
he
it's
speaks,
beautiful. Yeah.
And
He's
he
celebrating this new world in a way.
Yeah.
It's like not really. He's integrated himself into it in a way that no one else has.
and he teaches Spike memento mori, remember the dead.
Yeah.
And that's like his kind of through line throughout the whole sequence is that he's there like he tells them like, "Oh, this is infected and non-infected alike," like they're because in a lot of ways they're the same, and in bones they're exactly the same. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. And so he makes like these tall towers out of the arms and the leg bones, but out of the skulls he's made this kind of cone in the center of the bone temple. It's like it's also like I was wondering like how did he decide when it was tall enough? Because it's like 15
It
feet
is
tall,
Yeah,
like 20
it's
feet
so
tall.
big.
And like, is there a point where he was like, "That's enough"? Like it's
Yeah.
And that's
We're
it's
good.
great.
And
it's
they're
crazy
all that
'cause
big. Yeah,
They have Eric's head that Samson ripped off.
yeah,
And then you literally see him go through the process of like stripping the flesh off it, like boiling it, and then he's like,
Mhm.
"Find a place for your friend."
in a very
And,
gross
like
way.
as horrific as it is, like it's also like very tender and loving.
Yeah,
Like,
yes.
we've been seeing like Samson rip out stuff and like the soldiers or like everyone get shot with arrows, but the way that Kelso goes about it is like he's gentle and he's methodical and he's like
Yeah.
doing it in a way that's
And-
like different.
And he's also very practical about everything. Like there's a part when they get to the Bone Temple, Spike like goes and he kind of touches it, and some of the bones fall apart, and or
Yes.
some of the skulls fall down. He goes, "Oh, that don't worry about that. Like the
It's not
temple,
precious in that way.
yeah, it's not precious," which is again poetry. And
Right.
it's like he says that the tower is stable, but he's like, "Oh, but the bones, they'll fall apart either due to weather or decay or spike." And it's such a like
Yeah,
it's like a
it's
cheeky
so-
little
it's so
like
funny, yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's." And so then he has him like put the skull. He's like, "Put your friend's skull here." And then he goes to examine the mom, and he finds out that the mom. This is where we find out that the mom has cancer. And
Yeah, the
and
test he does, it's so like gentle, and it's like
yeah,
I've actually seen recently someone like I know had to go through a lot of these tests too and stuff. It's just like, oh, it's so like it really hits you as he's like kind of like lovingly like doing all this to her, kind of like setting her down and stuff like that. It's crazy how much of a shift it is like as soon
And
as
it's-
he's there,
Totally.
it's cool too because it's kind of like that he's like it's just it shows you how like kind of she's just doing a test that she might not even remember, but this test is kind of like gonna be the judge on how far gone she is, and Kelso eventually like tells them like there's nothing they can really do, like they don't have medicine. Even if they did, the cancer has like spread to her brain,
Mhm.
and so she's not gonna make it. And so and it's such like it's such like it's that kind of like weird dark, like the way that this movie's kind of been leading, where it's like it's a beautiful moment, but it's also like the mom and Spike having to come to terms with the fact that the only relief she's ever gonna have is through euthanasia, and so
Yeah.
that like they have to come to terms with that. And then of course Kelso gives the skull, or no, Kelso gives the skull to Spike and says,
No,
"Find a place
what
for her."
what I love though is that because Spike obviously is starting to freak out, and they literally like give Spike morphine just so he
Yeah.
won't try to
Yeah,
stop them. So
right.
Spike
Yeah.
is just literally like, and you don't see him like finish off the mom,
Right.
It's like all you see is Spike just like in the circle as like kind of like the light kind of like surrounds them, and it like looks
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the ashes are like floating off into the air, and it's like
Yeah.
that
and
like top down shot. Oh,
and
I
it's
will-
almost
I
this
will
like
also say-
tearjerker.
When
Yeah.
he brought the skull to Spike, I was like, "Great job at saving your mom, Spike."
But like I think this is the first zombie movie to really kind of emphasize like that there
Death?
can be dignity in death. It's not
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
ugly violence, it's like
And
I don't know, moving.
well, even then, like Spike goes to the top and he puts his mom so she can see the sunlight, just like she was saying, seeing the sun over the hill, and it just makes it like kind of all come together in a very weird way. And then, so then they're about to go, and like Spike, he decides to take the baby back to the island because he's gonna need milk. Is the big thing. He's still alive, but he needs milk. And so then he leaves him at the gate, and like that's also
Leaves
funny
it
because
her.
it
It's,
cuts to the guard, and then they just hear crying. Like,
Right.
imagine how
He's not getting
fucking
out of
weird
there,
that would
please.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is cool because he clearly times it to where they'll find the baby, but too late for like the tide will have risen just enough
Right.
that no one can follow him. Because then when the
Yeah.
dad reads the note, and they're basically he's like, "Hey, this baby was from an infected, but it's not infected. Be kind to her." And he named the baby after the mom, Isla or
Right.
Isla, yeah.
Right.
And then the dad runs out, but the tide's too high. And he's like, "Spike!"
He's like, Spike,
Yeah.
come back. You have a
So-
new mom now. That would be good. I wish he
She's at your
had.
She's already moved in.
Don't worry.
He knew it wouldn't work out, but that's all right.
It would be funny
Yeah.
if they cut back to him at the third one. It's just he's there with the mom.
He's just like, wait, Spike? Who's that? But no, it ends with him kind of looking out, and then we cut back to Spike. And this is the most controversial ending of
This
the whole
is
thing.
my
Probably
This is
of
where I was
all
like,
of
this is
last year.
perfect.
Yeah.
I
But
love
it
this.
It is my favorite part. And like, even watching it again, like, even though I know it's coming, it was great when I didn't know it was coming. But even then, when I know it's coming, it's such an amazing scene
It's
because Spike is getting
it's
chased.
so dry. Yeah, he
He's
gets
chased
one,
by,
and then there's like four more chasing him
Yeah.
along this like kind of like stretch of road where someone's blocked off like the
Yeah.
road, like with
And then he
with bricks.
hears someone go, "Hey, you want us to help you?" And it's it's our new favorite character, Jimmy Crystal. This movie has so many iconic characters.
Sir Lord Jimmy the Crystal, yeah.
Jimmy Crystal, and all of these. So he's now, this character has 6 kind of people who are dressed exactly like him. 7
yes.
people who are dressed exactly like him. They're attacking. They kill all the zombies.
It literally is playing a punk rock version of the Teletubbies theme as they parkour down the wall. And all of them know parkour.
They're all wearing tracksuits that match the colors of the Teletubbies.
Yes,
from earlier, and they start killing people like Power Rangers. They're literally like flipping and like stabbing them. They all have spikes, and so
they'll flip off a wall to like cut one so it's confused, and then like decapitate it. They do the sickest moves ever.
They're having fun. They're having a good
time.
This
is a great time for them.
About these zombies. Yeah.
And so then Jimmy like goes up to Spike and he's like, "You look like a killer." And we see, the last thing we see is it pans down and we see that cross from the very beginning. But now it's been inverted as Jimmy Crystal likes to wear it. Setting up the next sequel, The Bone Temple, which we'll talk about next week. But I think one of the things I really liked about this, and it wasn't until I watched it again, I've seen it like 3 times now, is that this movie, like a large part of it is about, and it almost even works as not only a metaphor for the movie, but a metaphor for the reception. A lot of this movie is playing with the idea of the lies we kind of tell ourselves, so much so that we believe them, you know? Like the mom, of course, doesn't know what's going on. She's a really good example of that. But even like the dad is kind of like holding up this kind of cool dad, great alpha male kind of thing that he can't fulfill, because like he's also like, I know a lot of people say that he's a bad dad, but it's like we don't know how long he's been watching his wife who's like that bad, and he's still like he's the only one who's really taking care of her because everyone's kind of on their own. He's like, he still loves her as evidenced by some of the scenes, but like how long are you with, like how long are you
he is making the best of a bad situation.
And she
like is initially right. What's he gonna do?
You almost
it's the reality of the world.
The reason he wants Spike to go out that early is because he's like, oh, she's gonna die pretty soon, and I want him to kind of be like a hunter who has like a purpose when that happens. Right. You know,
and it's also like through Spike we see like his kind of, you see the reality of him realizing both his parents, like both his dad and his mom, and seeing who they really are, like. Whether it's believing that the dad was his hero and then he sees like he's more flawed than you originally thought, or even seeing his mom and like the whole time. And that's why that scene with Dr. Kelso is so important, because Dr. Kelso is the first person who sits him down. Is like, she's not going to live that long. Like she's on her way out. And not as cold blooded as I said it, but he's the one who like tells him the truth. And like Spike doesn't understand. Like he's like, no, we came all this way. We did all this work. There has to be a way to save friends. Like the reality is sometimes there's not. Like sometimes it is just kind of letting them, like you have to say goodbye. Like there is no going back. And I think that's kind of what this movie is about overall. Like even the dad. Yeah, go ahead.
Like even like the village, like it's like they're trying to have this kind of like semblance of like the old world existing, and like we can still be a human civilization even in the fact of like all this tragedy. And that's like what you're saying. Like that's exactly what Spike realizes, is that like, no, the world has changed, and that's why Kelso is so scary to them, because he has like, just like how the world has continued to grow and like the flowers have come back, like they've learned to coexist with.
He is adapted to the new reality. And
he's flourishing, and he's scary to them because he's not trying to live in London anymore. He's trying to live with the zombies, because that's what his reality is.
And it's interesting too, because, and we'll talk more about it next week, because like Dr. Kelso and Jimmy are exactly like, and that's why I think that that's what this movie is talking about so much, because they're 2 sides of the same coin, where they're the only 2 characters in this entire franchise who understand that the world is never going back, and they have to live in this new kind of, I was gonna say utopia, but it's not a utopia. It's utopia for the deer.
The deer are loving it.
Alphas.
The alphas. But like the thing is that Dr. Kelso, and I think that's what makes him so endearing in this franchise, is the only one who sees the world as it is, and he's reacting to it. And like Jimmy's the opposite, and we'll talk about that more next week. But it's this kind of way, like especially now, you know, and of course zombie movies have always been political, from Night of the Living Dead to to Resident Evil. Just kidding. Um, but this movie is kind of talking about the way, and we see it now, like the way we lie to ourselves, the way we're saying, not to get too political, but sure, he was on that list 8 times, but he wasn't going to the island. It was other people. He told us he was draining the swamp. And it's like, especially, society is the easiest thing to have faith in. And especially when you have faith in society, there's this kind of like, everyone in this movie is kind of trying to hold on to something that's never coming back. And so Kelso's kind of there trying to be like, hey, I'm trying to take you to where we should be, not where we could be, but it's never going to happen, and so I think that makes it it makes it very relevant, but it also makes it kind of not depressing, but it's like, it's a hard truth to hit, especially in a zombie movie.
I could see that. Yeah.
Right. Which, like, what are you going to do 28 years later? Like, that's like,
right,
like what they should be talking about.
Yeah. And I think, and we'll talk about it even more next time. We'll talk about this time. Like, I think it's that thing where it's like, let sequels, like everyone complains that Marvel movies are exactly the same. Then you have a movie like this where it feels so different, but it still feels connected to that world, that it's like, what do you guys want? Like, did you just want another scene of them running through the tunnels and getting chased by zombies, shooting like?
But see, I almost feel like it even kind of gives you like crazy like the alpha chase on the land bridge and the gas station. It's like you still get a lot of that stuff. Totally. It's just like
it's still a gross,
but it's still like it's still moving you like towards a different idea than just here's more of the same. Here's them shooting zombies and they jump down and it explodes.
It feels like a sequel in the sense that it feels like Alex Garland and Danny Boyle sat down and was like, what would Britain look like if from where we ended in 28 days later and we've now gone 28 years later, what would Britain look like?
Like, how would people live? And
and it's kind of that thing where like what we were saying is that like all of the characters are just like they're just like two things. They're just like Teletubbies, but they're also dressed like Jimmy Savile, who was kind of like the Mr. Rogers of the time. But the thing is, unlike Mr. Rogers, he was found out to be a disgusting pervert,
horrible sex criminal.
But the thing is, in this movie, they never got to that point because that was after the virus.
Right.
So in their world, he was still a beloved figure, and I think that that's a very interesting. It'd be like if they made this movie in America and all of the guys were just like Cosby characters because this was in 2003, absolutely. And it's like they don't know what happened
exactly.
Yeah. Or if I had directed, they would have been just like Puff Daddy characters, and they would have all wearing shiny suits and been like,
It's a white party.
Yeah, it's a white. Yeah. It would have been way cooler. And I think that kind of carried over in 20 days. And I think a lot of people, they get mad at, the people don't like this movie. Almost all of them don't like it because they wanted something different. But I think if you approach this movie for what it is, it's like it's such a great movie. It's so poignant. It works so well as not only a sequel but also its own thing. And I think it's like more people should be watching these type of movies.
Yeah, I would agree.
Also would say the exact same thing.
Yeah,
don't expect it to be something different.
Right, and see, like that's what I'm saying. Like, not only is the movie about the way we kind of shield our eyes and get mad when the reality isn't what we wanted to, but I think that's what a lot of the audience did. They got mad because it wasn't what they wanted it to be, even though what they wanted was a sequel to 28 Days Later, and what they got was a sequel to 28 Days Later. But it's just a lot different than what they expected, and I think
that to
me
be rewarded. Is almost like because my wife loves 28 Days Later, and she was like, "Oh, this movie's like good," but it's like she's like, "You really think this is like better than 28 Days Later?" I'm like, I think they're both kind of equally well made, but I'm almost more interested in what this movie's about. So, it's like the subject is more, to me, it's like, doing this, like what would literally happen 3 decades on versus, here's the outbreak and, it's crazy,
It's just so thematically rich. Like rewatching it, like before doing this podcast, like I loved it in theaters, but like getting to watch it again at home, like this movie is like, it's hitting on so many different levels of just like familial relationships, our relationships with death, our relationships with the world. Like it is like, it's heavy. It's
and again,
like,
that score just carries you through it. Yeah. It's so good. And listen to the music next time you watch it.
especially like we even had one time at one of the film festivals, because the last ones is also zombie drama. We had someone walk out because they wanted it to be more gruesome. So me and Danny Boyle are exactly the same person, is what I'm trying to say. I just got there first,
That
like
was my
way
next
first.
point,
So
yeah.
When are you gonna make your Bollywood style? That's
I
my
need
question.
I need my own Jimis. You look like a Jimmy. But yeah, so join us next week. We're gonna be talking about Bone Temple. We're gonna finish off the trilogy because I think that's it for the trilogy. But
I know.
we will see.
I want it
We'll
to
talk about it
happen.
more.
Yeah.
But yeah, join us next week. And if you haven't, go watch 28 Years Later. It's on Netflix. And then go watch The Bone Temple before next Friday because I don't know if it'll be in
Yeah.
theaters after next Friday.
It's already left Chicago, yeah.
Oh, it's still here, but
Okay.
I'm gonna watch the sheet out of it. But yes, join us next week, and we'll see you next time on The Bum Squad.